how far does a company or anybody have to fall before the copium hits so hard they start to brag about their own downfall? Like, I'm curious. I'm literally curious because apparently Ubisoft brags about DEI agenda while acknowledging it hurts sales. So they know it hurts their sales, but they're bragging about their DEI agenda. Like, are they trying to play the long game? Like, because I say this because I think maybe they're waiting for real gamers like us to stop playing games and for the woke masses that are of the youth, not all of them are woke, it's not woke masses, just the woke youth, some of them, to start playing games instead of us playing games. And they're hoping that in the long run they'll be ahead of the game with their woke game content, and so they're willing to lose millions and millions of dollars, as well as lose investors, as well as people, as well as their stocks dropping, as well as them just losing pretty much everything. Like, the company is falling apart, but they're willing to let that happen on the count of later on, eventually, hopefully for them, which I'm highly doubting, they're counting on someone or people starting to play their games and pick it back up anymore. I don't know. I don't get it. But right now they're bragging about their downfall. I'll say that. But let's get into this video. Let's go ahead and put in that reaction. As always, link to the video and link to the channel will both be in the description below. So be sure to check out Rev Says Death.
Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today we're going to be once again talking about Ubisoft, who I'm sure can't wait for this nightmarish year to end, thanks to a lot of self-created problems
Hold on, just because the year ends doesn't mean the nightmare ends. Like, let's be real. Like, Ubisoft is cooked. Like, they are donezo.
With their giant flops of AAA titles like Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws, X-Defiant, and so on and so forth. And also this month they've been dealing with protests at their French division, and also they're dealing with the ongoing problem of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, I think you guys are aware that a few months ago they announced this game was going to be delayed until February of 2025, and of course during that time that just means more expenses for Ubisoft, and it's been confirmed from its CEO that basically this delay till February is going to cost Ubisoft another $20 million, which may...
Okay, it might cost them like another 20 mil, but hopefully they'll use this time to actually like better the game. You feel me? Because right now, we know that their original protagonists, like multiple, were both supposed to be Japanese. It was one Japanese male and one Japanese female. The only reason they made Yasuke the main male character is because of all the bullshit that was going on. Not the bull. I mean, I say bullshit, but all the stuff that was going on here in America with the Black Lives Matter, as well as when the game first started coming creation. The George Floyd shooting, and the police brutality against Black men and women. So that was why they decided to make the main character a Black male, because Yasuke was a living person in Japan during that time. However, it's debated on whether or not he was just a retainer or was he a samurai. And honestly, there is not very much evidence of him being a samurai, but there's a lot more evidence of him being just a retainer instead. Personally, I think he was just a retainer. I don't think he was a samurai at all. And also, since we're going, I believe it's feudal Japan times. I'm not sure which exact era, but since it's Japanese history, and the assassins are, or not the assassins, well, Assassin's Creed. So the assassins are planning on dealing with, all the bad stuff that's going on in Japan. Let the Japanese handle it. Like, to me, in my opinion, this is another just another show of Americans being like, we need to solve other countries' problems for them. It's like, no, they know what's going on in their country better than we do. They have a better understanding of it. Let them handle it. Like, and so in Assassin's Creed Shadows, let the Japanese handle it. They know what's going on in their country. Let them handle it. They don't need a black samurai running around, an outsider running around destroying their stuff, and just killing other Japanese people. Like, personally, I would be pissed if they made an Assassin's Creed based in Africa or some other mainly black country, and there was just this white guy running around destroying black culture and killing black citizens, like whether they're good or bad. Let the Japanese handle it. This has nothing to do with blackness. Like, why are you making a black main character run around and destroy Japanese culture and structures and fruit stands and all that, and just pretty much disrupting Japanese culture and killing Japanese people? It's as if Ubisoft is actually Johnny Samali. You know, you remember Johnny Samali, right? If you don't know who Johnny Samali is, he is a live streamer that has gone around Japan just causing trouble and trying to gain as much hate as he can. Right now he's in Korea. He did the same thing. South Korea. He did the same thing. Went around trying to gain as much hate as he can, disrespecting the South Korean people as much as he can, just like he disrespected all the Japanese people as much as he can. And right now, actually in South Korea, it's good news because they took his passport away, and I heard that he got like arrested again. I'm gonna do a reaction to that video by Moist Critical, but yeah, it feels like Ubisoft is trying to be Johnny Samali because they put a black male in Japan, and they took that black male that was in Japan that was traded from slaves, or that was slave traded in Japan, and they made him the male protagonist instead of just a regular Japanese male as a protagonist with a Japanese female. Like, and then he's running around killing Japanese citizens, whether they're good or bad, doesn't matter. He's running around killing Japanese citizens and destroying Japanese property. So it's like, Ubisoft is Japan. I mean, Ubisoft is Johnny Samali. I don't get it, but let's continue. Sorry for the rant. Not sorry.
Makes it also sound like this is fixing a lot more than just bugs. It seems like they're making some major changes to this game to try to salvage something out of this mess. Now, that is something that is a very common pattern at Ubisoft, where some of its higher-ups keep making very bad public statements that are often contradicting one another. We've seen that with Assassin's Creed Shadows and YAKUZA in particular, where their basic philosophy behind historical accuracy with that character is constantly flip-flopping, and we've seen this happen over the last couple of months, where at one point they're saying we want to be historically accurate with YAKUZA, and then the next second they're saying we want to take creative liberties. This is about entertainment and not respecting historical accuracy to a T, and then they flip-flop on that and they do it over and over again. And the latest headline coming out of this company with Ubisoft here is
Assassin's Creed Shadows boss claims DEI is killing the game. Not only doubles down on it, but also attacks critics. You know, that's copium to a max, bro. They're overdosing on copium. Assassin's Creed Shadows boss claims DEI is killing. Okay.
Just crazy. So you can see the headline from that Park Place. Assassin's Creed Shadows boss claims DEI is killing game. Not only doubles
I didn't know they were gonna read it.
Down on it, but also attacks critics. This is, again, another example of a higher up at Ubisoft doing something that is against the good intentions of the company. They are actively sabotaging the company with these awful headlines they're producing by making these interviews. So what they're referring to here is that the boss, Mark Alexis Cote, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, well, he did a recent interview with Eurogamer, where he said a lot of things about the company, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and their approach to things like DEI, and it's all really bad. Now, keep it
real quick. How did Mark Alexis Cote, the parent boss of Ubisoft, how did he become the boss of Ubisoft? I mean, it says boss. It doesn't say, you know, founder or co-founder. Who made him boss and why? And I think whoever made him boss needs to be, you know, slapped a couple times. Just a few. Just, you know, enough to make them bleed. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But it seems like it was a terrible decision, and it seems like they're still riding with that decision because they haven't fired this guy as boss and replaced him with someone who's actually smarter, who actually knows what gamers want. Like, whose mistake is Mark? Mark is a child that should not have been born. It's like a mistaken child. Like, oh no, you're my favorite mistake though.
Keep in mind, this individual, this boss from Assassin's Creed Shadows, was also making the rounds on social media recently because they had a complete breakdown over this interaction on Twitter. So you can see Elon Musk responding to this tweet criticizing Assassin's Creed Shadows and the injection of DEI, where Elon Musk says DEI kills arts. And
also, real quick, if you look right here, I'm surprised that Elon Musk has a blue check mark, because it seems like people with gold check marks, I know this is random, this is completely random, but it seems like people with gold check marks on Twitter are like, you know, verified without having to pay for it. I don't know the how Twitter works, but I'm guessing the gold check mark is them being verified without having to pay for it, and the blue check mark is being verified while having to pay for it. And Elon Musk having a blue check mark just kind of seems funny to me, because like, bro, don't you own Twitter? All right, man. Anyway,
as a result of that, this boss over at Ubisoft would basically say that tweet generated so many emotions that made him want to go back to the platform just to say things to Elon Musk, where basically he was running through potential ideas he would say to Elon Musk, and basically he said, for me, Elon, it's just sad. He's just feeding hatred. I had a lot of 3-word replies that came to mind.
He's not gonna read all of that, so I'm gonna read all of it. Speaking with Stephen Totillo at GameFile, Cote detailed how Musk's post broke him emotionally. Good, little baby back bitch. That tweet generated emotions that the first thing I wanted to do was go back on X. So it made him so mad that he wanted to reply. He wanted to go back and reply just because my feelings are hurt. Shut your bitch ass up. Let's see. That I wanted to go back on X that I had deleted and just tweet back. And I just took a step back. I have a mindfulness app on my phone. What the? Of course you do. And I did a bit of mindfulness to try to explore the emotions that this tweet created. Man's probably goes to therapy too. I got to keep my, hey man. If you can't keep your emotions in check as a man, then like, maybe you should go to therapy, because like keeping your emotions in check as a man is just kind of like, you know, it's programmed into us from birth. It's like that's just what we do. You know what I'm saying? Well, at least most of us. Obviously, not all of us. Now let's see. In a moment of sheer hypocrisy, he accused Elon of feeling hatred, while at the same time indicating that he had a bunch of hateful 3-word replies he wanted to send. Elon wasn't feeling hatred, he was being real. Like, DEI does kill art. Like, think about it. It's like the era of art and art being used to tell a story or art being used to emotionally connect with its audiences and do all this amazing things, yeah, DEI kills it. Like, again, you have a black man running around Japan destroying Japanese property and killing Japanese people. Like, if it's in Japan, let the Japanese people handle it. This is just, like I said before, it's just another showing of Americans being like, we need to fix other countries' problems because they don't know how to fix them themselves, because we know better. It's like, shut the fuck up with that God complex shit. Like, let other countries handle their issues. Unless they reach out to you and let them handle that shit. And they weren't reaching out to us, especially in back in the feudal Japan era or whatever this is. Let them handle it. Let them handle it. It's not our problem. It's theirs. Let them handle it. They know how to do. They're big boys. Okay, they're grown ups. They're adult men and women that were in charge of the country. Let them handle it. The fuck. Let's see. For me, Elon, it's sad. He's just feeling hatred. I had a lot of 3-word replies that came to mind. Nevertheless, Kote continued, by attacking someone like Elon, I will not convince people about our point of view as a team. So basically, you won't convince people that you should handle other countries' problems because you think you know better, when everybody knows, you don't know better, because that country is that country, and that country knows what issues they're dealing with. They know the problems they're dealing with, and they know it better than you. They know all the details better than you. So let them handle it. Like, what the fuck?
Which, by the way, there's a lot of various 3-word combinations that would be pretty inappropriate to say to someone like Elon Musk as the boss over at Assassin's Creed Shadows. But anyways, let's get into...
I can think of like 3-letter combinations that I could say to the boss of Assassin's Creed Shadows. You know what I'm saying? One word might start with a K. One word might start with a Y. One more word might start with an S. Or, one word might start with a T. You know what I'm saying? Like a tie. You put that, you know what I'm saying? If you're dressing up for a certain occasion. And then one word might start with another T, for standing for that, tie that. And then one word might start with an N. I'm not gonna say what the N would stand for. You can figure it out, but you know what I'm saying.
To that interview with Eurogamer, and it's not surprising that Eurogamer and Ubisoft have combined for an absolute abomination of a interview. So beginning at the top here.
Oh, you're gonna read it
discussing
for us?
The current shifting cultural landscape. Kote described the current discussions around representation and inclusivity in media as an additional and previously unforeseen challenge. These conversations can influence how our games are perceived, but rather than shy away from those conversations, we should see them as an opportunity, he explained. So basically they're saying we're the heroes, right? We know that having DEI associated with our games is bad. It affects the perception of our game negatively, but we're gonna do it anyways because it's an opportunity to have these tough conversations.
So pretty much, even though the gamers are saying we don't want this in our games, we don't want this content, the Ubisoft is still saying the content is not for you, it's for the future gamers that will be playing our games when you finally stop playing games. And we just want to get ahead of the curve and try to bring about this woke, help push this woke agenda. And hopefully, well, not just hopefully, but I know that a lot of people are raising their kids to be like, fuck the woke shit. You know what I'm saying? Not enough people are raising their kids, but eventually more people will be raising their kids to be like, avoid this woke bullshit. It's not worth it. It's definitely gonna hinder society versus help society.
which I'm sure the investors are loving every part of that. You're basically sacrificing the quality and perception of your game and its potential sales to push an agenda, which they also claim they're not pushing, but we'll get into that in a second. So they continue on saying, Assassin's Creed has always been about exploring the full spectrum of human history, and by its very nature, that history is diverse.
No. History itself is not diverse. There are diverse cultures and people who have their own history, but history itself is not diverse. In Japanese history, it was even illegal to be gay. In Japanese history, there were, Japanese people handling Japanese problems. History is history, and you can't change it just to fit your agenda. And that's exactly what Ubisoft is doing. They're like, no, we're going to change history because we want to fix the problems of other countries that we see that we think they have. Ubisoft is on some Johnny Samali shit, for real though. Like, they hate Japan. They're saying your history is wrong, so we rewrote it to fit what it should be, and we're telling that story through this game. Prove me wrong. That's why they got a black guy running around Japan, destroying Japanese territory, destroying Japanese stands and all this other stuff, and killing Japanese people. Prove me wrong.
True to history means embracing the richness of human perspectives without compromise. For example, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we highlight figures both fictional like Naoe, a Japanese warrior woman, and historical like Yasuke, the African-born samurai. They're still labeling him as...
He's not a samurai. He was never a samurai. And African-born, yes, but he was a slave. He was a slave that became a retainer. He was not a samurai. That's it. Holy shit.
Samurai, after all of this, they've learned nothing. But they continue on saying, while the inclusion of a black samurai in feudal Japan has sparked questions and even controversy, Naoe, as a fictional character, has also faced scrutiny for her gender.
Now, I don't know if there were like kunoichi back then, like female ninjas back then, or female assassins back then, but I have no problem with it personally, because I'm sure, because ninjas were a thing, and I'm pretty sure kunoichi were a thing. I don't know if they actually were, but I'm pretty sure they were. And the only thing that they should have done for this game was continue doing what they did for all the other games, and using fictional characters to tell a fictional story. Bringing a historically real life person into the mix changes that narrative, in my opinion, and it brings it back to saying, hey, we don't like your history. It might, like I said before, we don't like your history, so we're rewriting your history through our story, and you should have done it like your history should have been better. And let the Japanese handle their problem. Stop trying to be that American person who wants to solve other countries' problems while you're acting like you know their problems better than they do. Stop it.
Now, I don't know where they're getting this. The amount of controversy attached to that character is like 1% of the controversy attached to Yasuke. That's the main problem. And the only time I've ever seen Naoe ever even mentioned in these conversations is basically using her as a package deal with Yasuke, saying these are the two protagonists of your game set in feudal Japan, a woman and an African man.
He's got a point. I've never heard them trying to promote the game with just Naoe, with just the woman. Like it's always Yasuke and this. Hey, we got this black guy. Yeah, we got a black guy in Japan. Oh, and a woman, by the way, and a Japanese woman. But we got this black guy who's a samurai. Yeah. And it's historically accurate. Yeah. That's all bullshit. That's all. He's not historically accurate. He in history he was a retainer, not a samurai, and he was a slave that was traded into Nobunaga's territory or whatever. Nah, man, it's wrong, bro. Especially if it's based in Japan. Why would you not market the game as, hey, we got this female kunoichi, this female assassin? Oh yeah, and there's a black guy. It's because, like I said before, that the whole reason they put Yasuke in the game is because of all the stuff that was happening here in America. They wanted to tell a story that was based in Japan, but they wanted to change the main characters because of some stuff that was happening in America. Let me tell you that one more time. Let me repeat that one more time. They wanted to tell a story based in Japan, but they changed the main character because of some stuff that was happening in America. Had nothing. What was happening in America had nothing to do with Japan. Nothing to do with Japan. So keep the game that's based in Japan, the story that's based in Japan, keep it based in Japan. Like what happened here in America with the George Floyd stuff and the Black Lives Matter stuff and all that had nothing to do with Japan. So why change the game that was based in Japan and force it to have something to do with America just because of what was going on in America? Just because you were like, I don't think this is woke enough. I think we need to change it up. What's going on in America right now? Oh, that's right, the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd stuff. We should change the game up to make it more woke. That way, we get the attention of the people here in America. Even though this game is based in Japan and it should be for the Japanese people, fuck them. We don't care about them. No. We're gonna take this character, this person, this historically accurate person. For the first time, we're gonna take somebody historically accurate and put them in our game. Yeah, no. They were a retainer? But these books that this one person wrote, that he stated he got information from himself, which he got wiki information from his other wiki account. So basically he stated himself that this Yasuke person was an actual samurai, and then he said, you know, I'm gonna write a book about this, and I got the information from my other wiki account that I created, that I made up, saying that Yasuke was a samurai. So that makes it real, even though I made it up and I referenced what I made up as truth so I can sell a book. We're gonna take that character and put him as the main character because of all the bullshit that's going on in America, even though it has nothing to do with Japan and the game is based in Japan. Okay.
Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. You would expect a set of Japanese protagonists and one of them probably to be a man. I don't think people are too shocked that one of the potential protagonists was going to be a Japanese woman, in this case a fictional figure here. But anyways, addressing that part, let's go back up here. So they did the classic move. It's pretty much a meme at this point. We saw it with Dragon Age and some of their staff where they're being criticized for their latest game being woke, and in response to that they say, wait a second, chud, we've always been woke. And that is a terrible route. I don't know why all these developers are embracing wokeness, or they're...
I heard about Dragon Age. I heard it's doing pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? The initial sales were bad. The playing of the game, well, the number of players wasn't very high. Like it didn't even reach 100,000 of active players. I'm sure something like that. It didn't even reach 100,000, and now it's slowly going down and down and down, as games do, or single player games do, because, you know, sometimes when you beat them, you just stop playing them. But it's not, it hasn't even been out that long, and people are saying that it might not even reach, it might not continue to reach 70,000, you know, concurrent players or whatever. And it's like, you guys really just don't want to learn, like, at all. Like, you don't want to learn. And the funny thing is that my brother is playing Dragon Age Veilguard, and my brother is he pretty much really would side with the woke type of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't really get out. He doesn't really shit. When I say he doesn't get out, like, it's worse than me. Like, I'm an introvert and a shut-in, but he just wakes up and plays game. Let me just, anyway, he is willing to play the woke stuff. Like, he'll play the woke games, and then I'll talk to him about, you know, all this woke bullshit that's being put into the games, and he'll be like, man, I'm sick of all this woke shit being pushed into our games and our content. And I'm like, no, you're not, because you're playing Dragon Age Veilguard and you're loving it, and you're complaining about the people who are saying that there's a bunch of woke agenda pushed into it. You're complaining about them. No, don't lie to me and tell me that you're, you know, tired of people. You're tired of woke bullshit being pushed into our games. You love that shit, obviously. Shut the fuck up. But anyway,
their quest for diversity. But anyways, that's what they're doing here. They're doubling down on it quite hard and then trying to play the victim. But continuing on, they say this, and this isn't new ground for the franchise, he noted, and he lists a bunch of different diverse Assassin's Creed characters, saying, again, history is inherently diverse, and so is Assassin's Creed and the stories we tell. So to be clear, our commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity and respect for diverse perspectives, not driven by modern agendas. So they just said
hold up. Let me read that. So to be clear, our commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity. No, it's not, because history doesn't have the agenda of the wokeness that Ubisoft is trying to push. History has everything that Ubisoft is trying to destroy. So you can't tell us that your commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity, because there was no inclusivity in history. If you want to be historically accurate, then you wouldn't try to be inclusive. You get it? You know what I'm saying? Like, Ubisoft is just straight up lying at this point. Ubisoft is a lot like people who buy Tesla trucks, Cybertrucks, and buy iPhones. They love to sniff their own farts like they're characters from South Park. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you, because just because I think it's funny.
Here in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's South. Those are people who buy Cybertrucks and people who have iPhones and brag about their iPhones. And right now, it's pretty much Ubisoft as well. You know, with their DEI agenda, every time they push that woke content bullshit, they turn around in their office and do this.
Mr. Badunkin! We have to go!
Being smug is a good thing.
Yep, they just sit there and smell their own farts. That's exactly what people who work with Sweet Baby Inc. and people at Ubisoft do. They're exactly the same as the people who buy Cybertrucks and people who buy iPhones. Especially every iPhone that comes out, the newest one. They just sit there with their smug ass, farting, and then, yeah. That's all they do, bro.
Seconds ago, pushing this stuff in their games is a bad look for its perception, but it's something important for them to do. What does that sound like? That sounds like pushing a modern agenda, and then down here they say they're not doing that. And they're also saying, again, we care about historical authenticity, where they're also falsely labeling Yasuke as a samurai in order to check boxes for their DEI related agenda. In this comparison of Yasuke versus these other protagonists and saying they're all diverse. Well, the reason people have an issue with Yasuke being the main protagonist of Shadows is that he doesn't really fit the environment. Yes, he was there, but he was a very small minority of the population. You would just expect a game based in feudal Japan to have Japanese protagonists. And comparing Yasuke to these other main protagonists of other games is ridiculous because those other characters, their ethnicity fit the context of where they were. You expected these characters to have these ethnicities, and they weren't a surprise or confused by anyone as an attempt to push an agenda. But here with
also, let me remind you, Yasuke was a slave that was traded into Japan. So you really think Japan's gonna buy a slave and then make that guy someone like a samurai, and versus making him a retainer? Like, are y'all okay in the head? Like, what the fuck? Also, and I'm looking up right now as I'm trying to install the whole DEI agenda that Ubisoft is trying to push. It reminds me of another South Park thing where it was like, put a chick in it, make it lame and make it gay. They put a chick in it, they got the chicken there, right? But they also made it lame and gay with Yasuke.
Is there a problem, people?
No.
Is there a problem, people?
No problem at all, Mrs. Kennedy.
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Trinity,
Than we did with Indiana Jones.
Fuck Indiana Jones! Put a chick in it and make it lame and gay!
Fuck Assassin's Creed. Put a chick in it, make it lame and gay. That's what they did.
With Shadows, that is very clear. There is an agenda being pushed. But continuing on, Kotei's tone seemed notably different to Ubisoft's last vague mention of polarized comments by company boss Guillermo, who raised eyebrows in September when he told investors that Ubisoft was an entertainment-first company creating games for the broadest possible audience, and our goal is to not push any specific agenda. Which, of course, all these comments seem like a great contradiction to everything both parties are saying. So you have Kotei here and Guillermo saying really two completely different things about how they want to approach the company and how they want to not push an agenda or focus on entertainment first. They don't really know their identity, and they're constantly flip-flopping on their own views of their products, and that is what has gotten a lot of trouble heading Ubisoft's way, because they can't really have a unified approach to anything. They're constantly saying things that contradict one another when it comes to their leadership positions. And going further, so it says here, Kotei continues saying, alongside these deep-rooted franchise values is our commitment to recognize and listen to legitimate criticism as an essential part of the creative process. Kotei.
They do not recognize and listen to legitimate criticism. If they did, they would take Yasuke out the game and put in the Japanese male character that they had from the start, before all the Black Lives Matter and before all the George Floyd incidents. They would put that they would have kept that character in the game. They would at least put him back in the game. They don't care about legitimate criticism of their game. They don't.
Kotei said tonight, our community helps us grow, evolve, and deliver better games. Today, we all, however, face the added challenge of distinguishing between genuine feedback and attacks driven by intolerance. So we've heard some different rumors, like from Endymion and other people who claim that insiders have said that the people at Ubisoft, they are shut down to criticism. They are not hearing it from anyone. They have completely decided that all of this outside noise is not important to them. So in the eyes of Ubisoft, any complaint from the outside is just being thrown off as intolerance. I don't think...
Real quick, I would love it if, like, when Ubisoft stocks plummet to a certain amount, if somebody comes in and buys up all the stocks that are left to buy, right, and then owns a majority share of Ubisoft, they can kick out Mark, whatever his name is. They can kick him out and put someone else in, and then redo or start putting out games that people actually want to play. Start putting out games that are not DEI and games that do not want to follow or push a woke agenda. Games that refuse to work with Sweet Baby Inc. Companies like Sweet Baby Inc. Like, they can start doing that, and then it's like, finally, some good shit. Unless that happens, the rise of the indie developer will continue to be one of the best things that everybody should look forward to, because indie developers are more likely to not follow DEI inclusivity. Like, they don't have that pressure from companies like Sweet Baby Inc. to force their game to be DEI inclusive and shit like that. So shout out to indie devs that are not about that DEI bullshit. Thank you so much for your work, and please continue to be anti-DEI and anti-woke. Thank you.
That is a bold claim to make with Ubisoft based on their track record. And on top of that, we see this whole commitment to the creative process, and that they want the community to help them grow and deliver better products. But again, with Yasuke, the very simple fact that just 2 seconds ago we saw this boss over at Ubisoft refer to Yasuke as a samurai, despite the massive outrage, especially in Japan, over that ridiculous claim, shows they're not taking any of this seriously. And I think that's not too much of a surprise. But listen to how they play the victim here. So our creative teams face lies, half-truths, and personal attacks online. And they say the current climate is tough on them. When the work they pour their hearts into is twisted into a symbol of division, it's not just disheartening, it can be devastating. What keeps me going is the resilience born out of conviction that I see in our teams every day. I am especially proud of the Shadows team for staying true to their creative vision and the core tenets of Assassin's Creed.
What keeps this man going, what keeps them going, is their love for losing money. Like, they love to lose money. They love to have people hating on them, like they're Johnny Samali. They love to have people hating on them. They love to lose money. They love to destroy they love to destroy, not destroy. They love to put their hateful outlook on different countries into the media, into the world. They love to say, fuck you, when it comes to gamers and people of other nationalities and countries. They love to say fuck you, and they love to lose money. And the thing they love most is that when stupid people still buy their games, that's what they're counting on. They love that shit. They love that shit. So make sure you vote with your dollars. Vote with your dollars. Let them know that we ain't gonna take it. Fuck your woke agenda. Fuck that shit. Don't play it. Don't buy the game. I'm not gonna buy the game. I know a lot of streamers and content creators will be like, I'm gonna buy this game and play this game so you don't have to. We all know that even though they say I'm gonna do this so yeah, you don't have to, they're still gonna have their people, members of their audience, are still going to buy the game or watch the thing just so that they can relate to their favorite content creator whenever their content creator talks about that game or show. Just like when Moist Critical was watching the Velma show, vote with your attention. Like, I guarantee, even though Moist Critical is like, I'm gonna watch Velma, so you don't have to. I guarantee that other people were still watching that show just because Moist Critical said that he was gonna watch it, and they want to relate to everything he said about the show. Like when he goes, oh, this one part in the show was blah 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 blah, they're like, yeah, I remember that part. Haha, yeah, I remember. I watched it just because I wanted to be able to relate to you. Of course they're gonna do that shit, bro. But sometimes streamers and content creators still do it just because, oh, they can make content from it. I'm not one of those. I'm not gonna buy this game. I'm gonna vote with my time, my money, and attention, and I'm not going to buy this game. I'm going to encourage my audience to not buy this game. Fuck this woke bullshit, man. If you want our future games to continue to be ruined, instead of getting something that's actually worth your time, that's actually worth your attention, that's actually worth your money, instead of getting something like that, if you want to continue to foster and promote and tell game devs that you want the bad games, if you want to continue to do that, then buy it. Buy the game. I'm not going to, but I can't control what you do with your money, your time, and your attention. But I can ask you to subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to take money out of your pocket, but once I actually finally get monetized, you know, the advertising dollars will, you know what I'm saying, dribble through. And you know what I'm saying? Help your boy out. You feel me? Fuck the woke gaming bullshit. Just subscribe to my channel. You know what I'm saying? If you really want to help a boy out.
Wow. The victim mentality is off the charts. They are doing everything in their power to play the victim in the situation. They don't care about feedback. They don't care about criticism. Everything is just a blind, intolerant attack on them. And they're going to keep forward with the core tenets of Assassin's Creed. Whatever that means. But all...
Whose dick is the boss sucking to have not gotten fired yet? Like, he must be sucking one of the CEO's dicks, right? He's gotta be sucking one of their dicks and just giving them that good, sloppy, droppy 6,000, whatever. He's gotta be doing that to have not gotten fired yet. With how much money he cost the company, how much money he lost the company, he's gotta be doing something.
All this reminds me of a conversation on Twitter involving Emma Kent, who is a previous Eurogamer reporter and a freelance games consultant, who was talking about the topic of DEI and also these woke consulting firms, where they said a few days ago, hello, game consultant here. The idea that consultants are forcing diversity into games is ridiculous because 99% of the time, the devs have already decided they want their game to be inclusive and just want help fine-tuning how certain stories come across. Hope this helps.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Because you remember that one Sweet Baby Inc. chick that was telling their people, hey, I was giving a conference saying, just invite them out to a coffee, and if they tell you that they don't want your help, that they don't want to be DEI inclusive, invite them out to have a cup of coffee and scare them with whatever with what might happen if they don't work with you. And now she's trying to say that now devs have already decided what they want in their game, and that game consultants are not forcing diversity. That's exactly what Sweet Baby Inc. does. Do you need I remind you of that? Hold on, let me see if I can find it on YouTube. Sweet Baby Inc. force them to work with you. Where's that speech at? Yeah, here we go. That's the Asmongold one. Fuck it.
The co-founder of Sweet.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
When they, if they don't give you what you want, when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, have a coffee with them and terrify them with what might happen if they don't give you what you want, which is consultants that force DEI inclusion on their game.
The people peddling this conspiracy theory are fabricating rage bait content to grow their YouTube channels and social media followings. They do not understand how the industry actually works, nor do they care to learn, because they are simply seeking engagement. And then they relate this to Dragon Age, but I think this is also very relevant to Ubisoft and how they approach DEI. And it's very interesting with Ubisoft, because it does seem like on the one hand, they are doing this on their own, right? As this person says, they want to commit to this woke pandering of a DEI approach in their games. But we also know that's not the truth for every other company out there, and that these consulting firms have convinced them that this is the way they need to go to bump up their sales. And I think the proof is very easy to find here. Just look at the classic clip from Kim Belair.
Yeah, that's what I just showed you. That's the same. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. saying this.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Also, real quick, let me read this. It says, you consultants are worthless parasites who only exist to fix a problem that you yourselves created. No better than thugs running a protection racket. Or like, you know, YAKUZA running. I've been playing a lot of like YAKUZA 0, YAKUZA Kiwami. I'm on YAKUZA Kiwami 2. I need to beat the game. I'm like one chapter away. But anyway, I digress. I was running a protection racket, and I look forward to the day devs realize they don't need you and force you to get a real job. Hope this helps.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like companies are deciding to employ these woke consulting firms just because they want to. It sounds like they are being intimidated with the threat of cancel culture, and I think Ubisoft is a reflection of a systemic approach to that, right? They are so afraid of cancel culture. They've become this company that just embraces DEI now. They are
also, I don't think companies have to worry about cancel culture, because we know, we've seen, like from with Black Myth Wukong, there was this alleged thing that that Sweet Baby Inc. tried to force Black Myth, the devs of Black Myth Wukong, to work with them, and they said no. Now I hear that was false. That, you know, that someone in China made that up, and it wasn't an actual thing. However, you saw how people rallied behind the devs of Black Myth Wukong and praised them for not working with Sweet Baby Inc., for not forcing inclusion into their game. So I think companies should take that as a note and be like, hey, if we don't work with Sweet Baby Inc., the gamers will rally behind us and praise us, and our game can sell as well as Black Myth Wukong. Our game can do just as well if we don't work with Sweet Baby Inc., or if we don't work with consultants that are trying to force DEI. If we don't work with them, then we might just get as much publicity and as much a push and as much praise to continue working for ourselves and not forcing DEI into our games. Companies can see that and be like, let's say fuck you to DEI. And then everybody will get behind that. If companies do that, everybody will get behind them and be like, thank you so much for not forcing DEI into your game. This game is fucking awesome. I love it. Just like they did with Black Myth Wukong.
Actually kind of following the Bridge dynamic we've talked about in other videos where at Bridge they said they want DEI to flow through the entire company from the CEO to the janitor to the point where it's a part of your DNA and you don't even question it anymore. And that's what's happening at Ubisoft, okay? They're now going out and probably working with a lot of consulting firms and also making these woke choices with their games on their own, but that probably wasn't the way it was forever. They've been convinced to the point where they now believe in this nonsense and they don't even have to be convinced anymore, and they will keep trudging forward with this stuff even if they know it's killing their product. They acknowledge it and they're still pushing it while trying to claim they are apolitical. It's ridiculous. But let's read one more section of this article. So, in quotes, when we self-censor in the face of threats, we hand over our power until freedom and creativity wither away. This echoes the selfless bravery of our Assassin's Creed protagonists, he continued. They fought for freedom, knowledge, and the right to chart their own paths, just as we, as creators, fight to tell stories that matter in a world that grows increasingly divided. Once again, they're the heroes. Give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. They're just like these heroes from the game. Wow, isn't that so wholesome, Chungus? I hope they get a lot of updates on Reddit for this cringe post. But you get the point, okay? This article is pretty insane, and another reminder that
wait. Let me read the rest of that. As the authors of How Democrats Die, wow, so powerfully stated. Speaking of How Democrats Die, I thought it was pretty funny. I actually am apolitical. I don't care about politics, but I thought it was pretty funny that there were so many people crying and raging and having meltdowns that Trump became president. I'm just like, okay. But I'm seeing all these people like having a meltdown over it, and I'm just like, that's funny to me. But anyway, How Democrats Die, so powerfully stated. Democrats crumble when good people decide to stay silent. The same is true, I think, of our creative freedom when we allow fear to stifle our voices. When we self-censor in the face of threats, we hand over our power piece by piece until freedom and creativity both wither away. Just like the game devs force censorship on themselves because they're being threatened with cancellation if they don't work with woke agenda pushing people, like if they don't work with them. Sounds interesting. When we self-censor our faith, until freedom, we cannot let that happen. It's time for us as creators to stand firm on our commitment to our values by telling stories that inspire, that challenge, and that help people connect. Our silence cannot be complicit. Indie game devs, once again, I would like to thank you for not putting DEI into your games when you don't do it. When you don't put DEI into your games, I would like to thank you. I love you. Stay blessed. You are amazing, and keep making those games that we all love to play that are not DEI inclusive. Thank you so much. The last little bit goes on to say, to our players, the ones who have stood by us, like my dumbass brother, supported us like my dumbass brother, and celebrated our work over the years with enthusiasm and intrusive feedback, like my dumbass brother. This stance is for you, Kote concluded. You are the heart of our journey. We create for you, and your support, your money, fuels our creativity and strengthens our resolve to keep pushing boundaries to tell stories that matter. This journey is yours as much as ours. Like my dumbass brother does. And I guarantee you, my dumbass brother is gonna buy the new Assassin's Creed. I'm gonna ask him how it was, and he's like, oh, it was great. It was amazing. But I hate all, and I'm gonna be like, man, there's so many companies trying to force wokeness and this. He's gonna be like, man, I hate when people force woke bullshit into our stuff. And I'm like, once again, I'm like, no, you don't, because you just said you loved the new Assassin's Creed. You just said you loved the new Dragon Age Veilguard. And by the way, I heard some of the things that some of the fucking hilarious scenes that's in Dragon Age Veilguard with like one of the main characters. I guess she was like eating dinner with her family or whatever, and like her mom was like, I only eat vegetables, so she went and got vegetables, and she's like, here, vegetables, just as you like. And as soon as she sat down, she was like, so I'm non-binary. And her mom was like, and first off, that's a crazy ass conversation to start just out of nowhere. Here's some vegetables. Let me sit down and be like, oh, by the way, I'm non-binary. The fuck? And her mom was like, what does that mean? But that whole thing was funny to watch. But anyway, let's get back to the reaction.
This article is pretty insane, and another reminder that Ubisoft is their own worst enemy. Not only are they delivering these shoddy products, their leadership comes out and makes the dumbest public statements ever that are totally against their own interest as a company. I can understand why at this point that these investors are so terribly worried about the future of Ubisoft. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, a bit of a long one, so I appreciate you guys listening. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
I enjoyed the video. I'm gonna go ahead and like, I'm already subscribed to Rev, but you make sure you do the same thing. Go ahead and like Rev's video, check out the original video, like the video, subscribe to Rev Says This. Link to their channel, link to the video will both be in the description below. And personally, like, I really think Ubisoft is trying to bring about their own downfall. And if their stocks plummet far enough, I really hope someone that actually has a brain will buy up all their stocks, and it will equal the majority of the stocks. And that way they'll have majority control over the company, and they can be like, you know what? Fuck all this woke bullshit. We're going back in the direction that gamers actually want games, and they will cancel all the woke games and woke agenda bullshit that Ubisoft is currently working on, and they will focus on making games that people actually like to play. That's what I'm hoping happens. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about this video. Just like Rev says that he knows it was a long one. I know that this was a long one because I'm looking at his video and it was like 16 minutes long. My video looks like it's going to be an hour long, so I'm not sorry. But thank you for sticking in there, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Shout out to you. Don't forget to do those 3 things I'd like to ask you to do, and like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos. Yeah. And you know what it is after that, in case I don't see you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace, and much love to you.